This video introduces the main concepts of the serials functionality that will be covered in the course and provides a checklist of tasks that will help you make the migration to Polaris more efficient. Polaris is designed with functionality that streamlines the serials cataloging and check-in process. However, serials records are not used for items like travel guides, test prep books, and directories. These bibliographic records are cataloged as monographic sets. It is important to note that the bibliographic primary type of material for serials is periodical and not serial in Polaris. Automated features include, but are not limited to, predicting future issues for a quicker check-in process and creating item records at check-in. This diagram depicts how records are linked together in Polaris. The bibliographic record is connected to the serial holdings record. Serial holdings records are connected to the check-in record, which generates issue records and item records at the time of checking in an issue. The item records are connected to the bibliographic record. Supplier records and subscription records are optional. However, these are connected to the serial holdings records. While you may be familiar with other systems that process serials in a similar manner, not all ILS systems are the same. So this next section of the video will review the different types of records that are used for serials. The use of item templates are important for an efficient check-in process. If serials will be circulated, a template must be created for each branch, serial collection, and material type combination. At serials check-in, an item record is automatically generated that contains all branch-specific information per the serial item template. The template name must begin with serial and all the bolded fields filled in. At this time, item templates still need to be created in the client, but Leap will be able to use the template when creating item records. When serials are checked in, a label can be generated from the list of checked-in issues and saved until it can be printed. Before checking in new issues, the label configuration has to be verified in the client. Supplier records are optional. Supplier records hold information about supplier addresses, contact information, and claiming defaults. A supplier record is necessary if serials claiming will take place through Polaris. Up to 5 claim wait periods can be defined. Claims can email yourself, email the supplier directly, or you could print the notice. You can set up supplier records in Leap. Serial holdings records, or SHRs, contain the title, copy, and supplier information for a specific serial title. It specifies a publication pattern so that issues can be predicted, which aids in the check-in process. It is kind of like a hub of activity because the SHR is connected to all the other types of records for a title. The most efficient way to create serial holdings records is to copy existing records. You can now create serial holdings records in Leap. Once you copy an existing work form, you only need to make minor changes to a record before you can begin to check in a new issue. When you migrate to Polaris for the first time, you can leave the old issues as they are and create serial holdings records that begin with the latest issue. The check-in screen streamlines the check-in process. If the serial holdings record has been set up with the settings for creating item records and prompting you for a barcode at check-in, then the check-in process will automatically create item records using the matching serial item template. When you check in a record, labels are generated automatically if you have set them up to do so. When a serial record is checked in, an issue record is created for the title. It contains publication and status information. If you need to customize the chronology of special issues, you can do so in the issue record. Issue records are linked to the check-in record and the serial holdings record. When a received issue or part is deleted from the check-in record, the attached item is automatically deleted as well. When all of the issues from an SHR have been withdrawn, you need to delete the SHR. The bibliographic record cannot be deleted if an SHR is attached. Magazine item records that were migrated from your previous ILS need to be withdrawn and deleted in order to be removed. You may like to create route lists for professional publications. Route lists allow you to print a list of staff that should use a particular issue. Once a list is created, you will be able to print the list at the time of check-in. Route lists need to be created and managed in the client. Polaris can help to track claims by giving you a report of missed or late issues. For this to work well, predicted issues should have expected dates close to the real dates you expect them. Issues that have not been received by a specified time appear on the claim alert list with a pending claim status. Polaris can record when you claimed an issue and what the response was. The claim alert list needs to be viewed in the client. However, you can set up the claims to be emailed to yourself as well. Subscription records allow the library to track renewal periods. The library can also auto-generate a subscription purchase order, or PO, if a PO for the title has been created in Acquisitions and attached to the SHR. Subscription records are optional. Setting up your Serials Holdings record will be the most time-consuming part of migrating to the Polaris ILS system. However, this workflow should help to make the process more efficient. Before creating Serial Holdings records, you'll want to configure the serial label settings and create item templates. You will need item templates for each collection and material type combination. If you would like to use the client to manage claims, you will need to create the supplier records before the serial holdings records. Next, you will need to create serial holdings records. It is recommended that you copy existing records so that you need to alter less settings in the records than if you were creating them all from scratch. If you choose to use Polaris to manage subscriptions, you will need to create the subscription record after you create each serial holdings record. While you can begin to work on this immediately, creating serial holdings records as new issues are processed could make the process less overwhelming. This video has explained the basic concepts of serials in LEAP. If you have any questions, contact help@ccslib.org.